From the land of hockey's capital city of Ottawa, a four-way battle for the men's 2017 Ice Cross Downhill World Championship will make the grand finale the most exciting fight to the finish in the 17-year history of Red Bull Crashed Ice racing. Never before has it come down to the wire like this, where so many athletes in the world's fastest sport on skates still have a chance to capture the championship as they head into the final race of the season. With country pride and a world championship on the line, this will be a thrilling fight to the finish. This is Crashed Ice Ottawa, and you are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Hey everybody, Sal Masekela here, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series, and allow me to welcome you to the capital of Canada, Ottawa, in the province of Ontario. A province is like a state, but different. It is fair to say that the national pastime of Canada is the hockey. The nation and its citizens, they live for and sometimes actually bleed real blood for hockey. So naturally, they have embraced this thing that we call Red Bull Crashed Ice. With the tightest world championship standings in ice cross downhill history, it's really no surprise that everybody wants to witness it in real life. Even Canadian Prime Minister and mom crush, Justin Trudeau, he is on hand to behold the spectacle. Unlike past championship seasons where one dominant racer has emerged, this season's title battle has been wide open from the start without an actual dominant favorite. So, with a heightened level of competition in this year's Ice Cross Downhill World Championship season, a different winner has stood atop the podium at each and every Red Bull Crashed Ice stop. Defending champions, Team USA's Cameron Noss is clinging to a very slim lead over compatriot Maxwell Dunn, and not far behind is Canada's Scott Croxell and Austria's Marco Delago, with enough points to actually win the overall championship if they can grab the top spot and collect the 1,000 points that is up for grabs. The women's championship battle also intense. 3 racers still in the hunt. Again, it is Team USA in the lead, with Amanda Tronzo currently first in points. However, shockingly, she will be watching from the sidelines, unable to secure a fast enough lap time to qualify for the top 16. Her fate now in the hands of local countrywomen Jacqueline Legere and Myriam Trepanier, who must make the finals in order to have a shot at taking the crown from Tronzo. Drama. And we haven't even started racing yet. So, how about we get to the ice as we are set for the men's round of 32. We're going to check in with Todd Harris and the legend, NHL Hall of Famer Jeremy Roenick, for the call.
Thank you, Sal, as we welcome you to Ottawa, Canada, on a very chilly night, and a spectacular track awaits the athletes who have the guts and the skills to compete at the highest level here at Red Bull Crashed Ice. All right, JR, as we take a look at the fans and the venue, it is packed, and what a track awaits them. Just getting to the finish line is going to be absolutely treacherous.
Again, another spectacular scene, this time in Canada, and we know what Canadians feel about their hockey and their ice skating. There's no question that they are going to be ampant, they're going to be rowdy. It's going to be an exciting race.
Well, the battle is on. As Sal pointed out, there are 4 men still in the hunt, but the track is going to be the great divider. Who can conquer this monstrosity?
Well, Todd, again, this track is going to be essential for the technique. Dropping into that first tabletop is going to be important. You don't want to pick up too much speed coming around this first terrace turn, because right away you drop again back into the floater. Big steep drops, which guys have to make sure that they control themselves, the speed, the technique. Coming up over the step up, again, are guys going to go flying over that? Are their skates going to continue to stay on the ice into the GoPro turn? And then coming down, maybe a couple opportunities to pass, coming up over the Goodrich log drop. But it's coming to this last section here of the floaters where timing is essential in order to get over that finish line.
All right, let's check in with the 4th member of our team. Here is Will Christian.
Thanks, guys. Well, I hope you're staying nice and warm up there in your cozy little commentator's booth, because it is absolutely freezing out here. By far the coldest race of the season so far, and actually one of the coldest days they've had in Ottawa now for several weeks. Freezing weather usually creating the optimal track conditions, but apparently there is such a thing as too cold for ice, and that's been an issue here as they've had unseasonably warm weather drop to below average temperatures. These cold snaps have created big cracks in the now brittle track surface, and they've had to be constantly repairing that throughout the qualifying rounds. We have also been told that they've actually warmed up the ice to 26 degrees to try and combat some of those problems. The ambient temperature out here right now, 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So challenges for our racers tonight, keeping their eyes open for those track hazards, and of course trying to keep their muscles warm through 5 full rounds of racing. Guys, back to you and your heater.
Thank you, Will. Stay warm down there, and thank you for the knowledge. We're going to get right into this, and Jeremy, you've talked about this in past races before. It can get too cold for ice, where you say it gets chippy.
Well, I love what Will just said about keeping the muscles warm and loose. There's no question that it's going to have a hamper on these guys if they don't come out stretched and ready. But the ice is what I'm really concerned on. As cold as it gets, that ice is going to chip away because it gets really brittle. I like the fact that they warmed it up, though.
All right, as competitors look on, we're going to get to the top of the course. This will be heat number 1 in the round of 32. And in this one, you've got Pacome Schmidt, Cameron Naz, the reigning world champion, Marco Delago, and Patrick Mers. Big drop right off the bat. Keep your eye on the orange and black. That is American Cameron Naz. And he goes to the front. No problem for him as he makes that turn on the terrace turn, and now comes the big floater. Cameron Naz, the whole shot and leading the way. Remember, the top 2 are moving on to the quarterfinals.
Look at the speed these guys are going at, Todd. Amazing how they go over that first big drop. And again, Cameron Naz looking strong again to start this heat.
Pacome Schmidt right behind him as they make their way to these last little set of rollers. Well done, gentlemen. And what a way to start out. Just excited that they survived this course. Cameron Naz, your winner, followed by Pacome Schmidt of France. Surprisingly, though, Marco Delago has been eliminated from the competition.
Yeah, and eliminated from his chances of winning this year's crown of crashed ice. It was a good year for you, Marco, but too little too late.
2014 champ has been eliminated, but it is all Cameron Naz, the reigning champion. What a start.
Yeah, at that first drop, it's one of the tracks that we see where there's not too many opportunities to take strides coming out of that gate, and look at that speed. Cameron Naz keeping such control over his body. As you can see, his skates don't leave the ice too far, and his head stays nice and in position, which allows that shock absorber situation. You see what happens when you come around corners too fast. Wipeouts happen, as Delago showed you.
And the 27-year-old from Lakeville, Minnesota, look how tight these chicanes are, and his balance, his body of work is amazing.
Yeah, his edge work is as good as it gets in this competition. You can see how he has his arms out for balance, and he knows when to take strides and how hard to take those strides. The speed control is so important in this race.
So he will move on with Francis Pacome Schmidt. They are into the quarterfinals. And just like that, the World Championship is down to 3. Marco's brother Luca tries his luck at this track as Heat 2 makes their way to the starting gate. Much more when we return to Crashed Ice Ottawa here on the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. Todd Harris alongside 20-year NHL veteran Jeremy Roenick and Will Christian here in Canada's capital of Ottawa, Ontario, for the final stop of Crashed Ice. Heat number 3 now set to drop in here in the round of 32, and this is a good one with Daniel Bergeson of the USA. He'll be in the all-black with a white USA helmet. Luca Delago, Tommy Mers of the USA, and Stephen Cox of Canada.
Again, the starts are really important, but the speed coming out of the gate is even more important, because that first drop, as you can see, is extremely steep. It's going to set the tone for the beginning of the race.
Ready! 5-second warning!
And it is a clean start and a great start by Daniel Bergeson on the left side of your screen.
Yeah, Daniel Bergeson having a great competition in St. Paul, looking to continue that. Oh, Luca Delago goes down hard. following his brother in the previous race.
And Bergeson also having his problems, but more carnage on the track. But look at that, slides right back into position, and now Bergeson's in a transfer position.
What a move right there by Tommy Mertz to go down and able to get up and stay in this race. That was incredible athleticism.
So the battle now is on for second place as only 2 men will advance onto the quarterfinals. And look at this, more carnage as they come to the line. It will be Stephen Cox who gets the win, and Tommy Mertz just ahead of Bergeson. What a finish.
Are you kidding me with that finish? That might have been one of the coolest finishes we've seen this season in crashed ice. He just absolutely used that ice, the smoothness of it, and I think his clothes that are nice and smooth, and he just propelled himself across that line. That was insane.
Bergeson with a great start, but also Stephen Cox on the right side of your screen right there with him.
Yeah, you can see Tommy Mertz didn't really have the speed to get up that first hill. Puts him in third place right there. Delago goes down. Looked like he lost an edge right there, or it looks like he actually hurt himself. He pulled up lame, unfortunately for Luca. But what a move by Tommy Mertz. Falling down and finding his way back into this race. You talk about athleticism, everybody cheering him on.
Stephen Cox was just gone, and so the battle is on for second place. Look at this, inside out. Look at Bergeson trying to shut down that line, and here's the finish again.
This is amazing. Watch how the speed, he just totally bypasses that last roller and slides in across for second.
And Tommy's standing by with Will.
Thanks, guys. Tommy, not the best of starts for you, and we saw you take 2 falls on the course. You still managed to cross the line, but how important is it going to be to stay on your feet in the races here tonight?
Yeah, I think staying on your feet in this sport in general is really important. But here in Ottawa, we've had some really cold weather, and it's making the track a little brittle. Ruts are forming, so it's one of those races where it's anybody's race, and kind of whoever can stay on their feet makes it. Fortunately for me, I had some other guys go down in my race, so I made it through, but would like to take a little stress off my plate and maybe just make it down in one piece on the next run.
We'll see you out there. Thank you, Tommy. Guys.
Thank you, Will. Look at the number of folks that have turned out despite the chilly temperatures here in Ottawa, and they are here to see a champion crowned.
By the way, it probably is a good idea to make it down in one piece, Todd. That's a pretty good interview.
It'll be a border war in this one. Heat number 4, Guillaume Beauvais-Morissette of Canada and Scotty Croxell of Canada taking on the Americans, Dan Witty and Jack Schramm. 4 men racing for 2 spots in the quarterfinals. If you don't go in those 2 spots, your night is done.
Well, Scott Croxall, again, one of the favorites in this crashed ice Ottawa. Here's his brother Kyle looking on. You remember St. Paul, they had a little hockey brouhaha with the Lagos. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time.
And they are off after the big acid drop. It is Scott Croxell staying to his feet. Now it'll be the big right-hand turn. Who has the position? It'll be Croxell with a hole shot.
That was a great move by Scotty Croxall to get out in front, and you see his turns. He keeps his feet a good distance apart to make sure he gets as much traction. Sometimes guys like to keep their feet right next to each other on those turns. Not Scotty. He gets a lot of power coming out of those turns.
So the Canadians right now going 1 and 2. Those are the only transfer positions available. And now the pressure coming for the Americans on the outside. Scott Croxell running away with this one. And it's going to be Guillaume Beauvais-Morissette at the finish, just edging out. What a performance. And what an opportunity by Dan Witty to try to sneak into that final transfer spot. Just runs out of ice.
Yeah, Scotty's dominance continues on the tracks. The speed, the technique, and the power. Dan Witty put on a valiant effort. There he is, nice little start. Again, one of the strengths for Scott Croxall. Look, little out of control right there, a little out of his character for him. But beautiful looking technique. As he comes around and you watch that first turn, you see how he keeps his feet nicely separated to allow that really tight turn and being very secure. Ice looking still pretty good even though it's cold out there. Look at the shock absorbers, how he brings his knees up but his head doesn't move. That is perfect technique by Scott Croxall. No wonder why he dominates this race.
So Croxell runs away with this one, and look at this battle between Witty and Guillaume Beauvais-Morissette.
Yeah, that's where that first drop-in coming into the final, you really have to control yourself because these last rollers can really be the death of you.
And look how close it is at the finish as we check in with Will.
Thanks, guys. Scott, you seem to have this track very well dialed in your head. I was watching you go over the rollers there at the end. You have a very interesting technique. Tell me about that.
Yeah, those rollers were giving me trouble all weekend. You know, I finally figured them out before time trials, and just going to stick to my game plan there, take them on a little angle, and just do it smooth.
Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next round, guys.
Thank you, Will. Scott's fellow countryman, Canadian Dylan Moriarty, takes his chances on this course in the round of 32. We return to Ottawa for Crashed Ice, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series and the final stop on the Crashed Ice World Tour. Todd Harris joined by two-time Olympian Jeremy Roenick and Will Christian. We are jumping straight into Heat 4 of the men's round of 32. 4 men, 2 advance on to the quarterfinals, and this is a good one. John Fisher of Canada, he's on the left in the pink. You've got Dylan Moriarty in black, Derek Wedge of Switzerland, and Yeri Leto of Finland.
It's a couple of my favorite skaters in this heat. John Fisher on the side, I call him the mathematician, or maybe a lawyer. He's got the glasses on, look at him. And look at the dreads, Derek Wedge from the Switzerland. He is a nut. He's gonna tackle this hill like crazy.
And a clean start. It is the flying Finn, Yeri Leto, who gets the whole shot. First man out there, but here comes Derek Wedge in the red and white.
Again, a great start off the top. Guys making sure they control their speed, coming up over that step down into the GoPro turn. Again, 3 guys right in tight. They got to be really careful. The bumping could get pretty dangerous.
And now it's Moriarty who goes into the lead. Moriarty of Canada leads them into the big turn. Derek Wedge sits in second. Leto on the outside looking in. Top 2 are moving on to the quarterfinals as they come down this critical section. Who can control their speed? Moriarty stays on his feet. What a finish. It'll be Moriarty, and Derek Wedge gets knocked out, so Yeri Leto of Finland will be moving on to the quarterfinals.
Fans obviously excited about that race. Dylan Moriarty again looking strong. Then my boy Derek Wedge eliminated, but again off the start, coming up over that first hill. I've talked about the speed is important. You see that straightaway, little maneuvering and positioning, very important. Again, the arms out, shock absorbers, those knees come up. Don't get too much air, and this drop in right there. See Derek Wedge and Moriarty going at it hard. And it's the final roller right there. Look at Leto holding off Wedge right there, coming off that last roller to finish second and move on. Look at that skate. Boom, as Derek Wedge comes over on his back. Pretty exciting race.
Let's check in with Will.
Thanks, Todd. Dylan, we've seen quite a change in your technique in that top tabletop on the course. Tell me about that and how much it's affected your times.
Yeah, just usually I try to jump the whole tabletop, and I think the height is getting me a little slower, so I tried to stride on it, which was a bit weird for me. It's first time doing it all week. I had a bad start, but then I knew where to pass, and I know I'm fast on this track, and came out with the win there. Now we're going to the 16, and hopefully keep going.
We'll let you go and watch your brother race. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Will. They're going to move through this fast because it is very chilly tonight here in Ottawa. This is heat number 6 in the round of 32. Marcus Jola of Finland, Richard van Wilhe of Sweden, Tyler Witty of the USA, he'll be in the green, black, and white, and Mika Jukkamainen of Finland, white with that blue cross on his jersey.
Well done, Todd. Pronouncing those names are as hard as skating this track right now.
Oh, the tension in the gate and the big acid drop. And it is Mika Jukkamainen who comes out the fastest, but on the inside, a nice change right there with Richard van Wilhe of Sweden.
See, that's exactly what happens when you pick up too much speed coming out of that first drop. Jukkamainen cannot control the speed and keep his edge work on plane.
So it is Richard van Wilhe of Sweden out in front, the only Swede in the competition, and he has got a nice line right now. Who's going to go with him? It looks like Marcus Jola and possibly Tyler Witty moving into position to strike as well.
Look at the speed. They got to be careful with that speed coming over that last hump, and exactly what happens if you don't control your speed, it's going to burn you, and it just burned Jola.
Oh my goodness, Marcus Jola was right there ready to move into the quarterfinals, and Richard van Wilhe and Tyler Witty able to stay on their feet and get the blade across the line first.
Again, watch on the outside. Jukkamainen comes down. Can't get enough speed. You got to control that speed. He's a little out of control and doesn't hit that next drop. Takes him out of the race early. Tyler Witty looking really strong. Perfect technique. Tyler Witty looking in third, probably a little nervous about what's going to happen come down the last stretch, but this is where you got to control that speed right there. You see Yola out of control that allows Tyler Witty in across for the win.
And Tyler Witty with a close finish, but good enough to move into the quarterfinals. He is now standing by with our very chilly Will Christian.
Thanks, guys. Tyler, a very happy smile on your face there at the end of this race. This is quite a big deal for you. When was the last time you made it through to a quarterfinal round?
In a main event, the last time was St. Paul 2013, so it was way overdue, and I am so pumped to finally be through the quarterfinals.
And what's your plan now, continuing on if you're going to make it through these next very tough rounds?
Just kind of the same plan I had there, try to get the inside lines. If you're not in first advancing position, I'm going to stay patient. See, at the very end there, I made a move and I got through, so just stay patient and see what happens.
Best of luck. Todd, back to you.
Thanks, Will. Much more round of 32 action when we return as the Canadian fans line not only the track but also the streets of Ottawa to witness Crashed Ice, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to Crashed Ice from Ottawa, Ontario in Canada, part of the Red Bull Signature Series. This is the final stop of the Crashed Ice World Tour, and a world champion will be crowned in both the men's and women's divisions. So we are set now for Heat 7 in the round of 32. Todd Harris, Jeremy Roenick, and the men competing, Shane Renaud of Canada, Dean Moriarty, he's the man in the pink, Mirko Lahti, he has that purple chest with the yellow-faced helmet, and Cale Johnstone of the USA, the 22-year-old out of Lamar, Illinois.
There's Dean Moriarty looking to join his brother in the quarterfinals. Start's important, but technique is even more.
Huge drop, carrying a ton of speed as they make their way to the big right-hand turn. And what a start for Renault as Moriarty tucks into second place. Top two moving on to the quarters.
Wow, one of the best starts and cleanest starts that we've had so far. Coming down over the step down. Starting to have a little bit of separation here. Moriarty looking strong, and oh, that is not a good situation as you get up over that drop zone again.
So Shane Renaud goes down, Dean Moriarty takes over the lead, and it is Moriarty leading them into the finish area. As they come over this very tricky section, who's it gonna be at the line? What a finish! It is for sure Dean Moriarty, and it looks like Mirko Lahti of Finland. Remember, it's the blade that has to cross the line, and I think Mirko Lahti may have got it.
Wow, again, those last rollers are tough, difficult situations to have to overcome. Perfect start. Look at that. All four racers all in line as they come around that first tabletop, being very careful coming around those turns. You got to stay in control coming around another turn. And here, look at the strides, the powerful strides, and the separation begins.
Moriarty looking very good right now. Shane Renaud having his issues coming up on this jump as they come towards the finish line, and that allowed Mirko Lahti to slide in.
Wow, look at the pace right there, the speed coming over that Goodrich log drop. You see the blades coming across the finish line. And it's the blade that counts, and it's Lahti moving on.
So Dean Moriarty, Mirko Lahti of Finland are into the quarterfinals. What a showing as we get set for the next round. Max Dunn, second in the World Championship standings, will face off next with Crashed Ice legend Kyle Croxell of Canada in the round of 32 when we return on the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to Crashed Ice from Ottawa, Ontario in Canada, part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Coming into the final event of the 2017 season, the Americans sit first and second in the overall standings. Maxwell Dunn, sitting in second place, has had an amazing year and now feels he has the skills and confidence to take the overall title.
I started the sport in 2015. I did a couple races just for fun. I was hooked. And I talked to Cam and I asked him, hey, can I come train with you? He let me in, and then all of a sudden, like, our training was so competitive and we were always like battling each other.
What's your thing at 125? Okay, crushes you.
Max and I train together, and I know that he just kind of watches everything that I do, and then he's such a good athlete that he's able to just do that.
I definitely look up to Cam. I really wouldn't be here without him. He kind of took me in, he's given me a lot of tips on just how to ride things, how to take a transition. Without him, I would have never been training. I would have no clue how to do almost any of this stuff.
Ha!
We're good buddies off the ice. On the ice, it's a little different story. We're still friends, but you can see that competitiveness in us. Max is doing great, and that doesn't mean that I'm bummed that the guy that I taught a bunch of stuff to is beating me now. It's more like, wow, he's doing great. I want to beat him. He's one of the best athletes.
So I've been second in 2 big races and 1 smaller Ryder Cup. So to improve, I got to take that #1 spot, and I'm coming for it.
I'm out here to beat everyone, and that's friends included.
That's right!
Are you ready to dethrone Cam?
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Wow, Maxwell Dunn has really come onto the scene in the crashed ice world.
The rest of the field is set, including Croxl, the 28-year-old from Ontario, Jim DePaoli of Switzerland, Maxwell Dunn of the USA, and Denis Novozhilov of Russia. He'll be in the light blue.
One of the favorites here, Kyle Croxall. His strength could be very important in this race.
Beautiful start despite the chilly temperatures, and Max Dunn looking great with the form. Jim DePaoli right behind him in second place.
Yeah, that strength of Kyle Croxall and Maxwell Dunn, very important. And I love Maxwell Dunn, the speed that he has. They call him the fastest man on skates. 51 miles an hour he clocked at one time, and he's making this race look easy.
And he is running away with it right now. You've got Kyle Croxell on the outside looking in, currently sitting in third place. Top 2 are moving on to the quarterfinals, but it is Maxwell Dunn of the USA out in front. Jim DePaoli now getting pressure as Croxell goes down right before the finish line. So Kyle Croxell, and a shocker, has been eliminated, but American Max Dunn is moving on with Jim DePaoli of Switzerland.
Wow, what a finish right there. Kyle Croxall, seeing he's just behind, tried to make a move at the end and mistimed his jump over that roller, and a disappointed Kyle Croxall right there.
But the 26-year-old from Burnsville, Minnesota, Maxwell Dunn, is moving on to the quarters, and it all came with a start. JR, you talked about it. He is the fastest man on skates.
Unbelievable. There's one stride and really right down that first drop, and look at the concentration on Maxwell Dunn's face right there. He makes his turns with his feet really close together, obviously very technical in his style. Out in front, you got to be really careful with these speed bumps right here, the rollers, as Kyle Croxall right there tried to push the envelope. He saw he needed to make a move, and see, he goes right into the boards right there, out of control. That's what happens when you try to make a move.
Novozhilov of Russia and Kyle Croxell have been eliminated. Maxwell Dunn of the USA and Jim DePaoli of Switzerland are moving on to the quarterfinals, and the quarterfinals are now set. And what an all-star lineup we've got. We'll kick things off in quarterfinal heat #1. That's where the reigning world champion Cameron Nas of the USA is. Heat #2's got a good one with Scott Croxell in that one. Dylan Moriarty has been the fastest one coming out of heat #3, and Maxwell Dunn slots himself into heat 4 of the quarterfinals. Despite the chilly temperatures, the fans aren't going anywhere as we check in with Sal Masekela.
Thank you, Todd. You friends at home, how about this track here in Ottawa? Those last 2 rollers coming into the finish, huh? Yeah, it's a carnage festival. And raise your hand if you too would like to see Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau lace up the skates and take a run on this course for Canadian freedom. What I'm trying to say is, communicate with us. We want to hear from you. Follow the Red Bull Signature Series on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, any way you get down socially. Use the hashtag Red Bull Crashed Ice, or you can go to redbullsignatureseries.com, where we have even more exclusive content just for you, plus our entire schedule for the year. And you can download the Red Bull TV app and watch this episode and all episodes from every season whenever you'd like to. Why? Because we love you. You're watching Crashed Ice from Ottawa, eh? And this is the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. I am your host, Sal Masekela, and this is Crashed Ice. What separates a winner from a champion? What does it take to elevate oneself from a mere race winner, which is cool, to being a world champion, especially in a sport like ice cross downhill? Is it your physical size and strength, skill, or natural talent? A mental edge, self-discipline, work ethic? Is it commitment to that off-season training? Do you have to be fearless, focused, passionate? Or do you just need to be able to have fun on a wild track? Well, history has dictated that it's probably a little bit of everything, as there have been 7 world championships resulting in 7 different winners. Is 2017 just going to be another year with another world champion, or will a past legend finally get that second crown? And let's not forget about the women finally getting their own full championship series last year. Will they complete their season with a new face atop the podium, or will the women accomplish what the men have not and get that repeat winner?
I raced for 5 seasons before I won my first world championship.
Cameron Noss wins it. He's got his first ever world championship title.
When I won the world championship, I was 23 years old.
Kyle Croxl comes across the finish line to win the world championship title.
It was a great feeling to be crowned the best in that sport that year.
I didn't expect to ever have a world championship title in my life, but here I am.
I think I had the worst answer from all the world champions in the history, because I just said, "Are you sure that I won?"
Yeah, that was some great moments for me to win the first championship.
I was 24 years old when I won the world championship.
Couldn't be happier.
My biggest role model in the sport is Arttu Pilainen.
I'd love to leave behind a legacy when I'm done with this sport, like Arttu.
It's in the top 3 experiences of my life. I remember it really, very clear right now. Now we are at 7 world champions.
No one's won 2 back-to-back, so that's what drives me.
I think a skill of mine that helped me win was I can be the first one out of the gate and get down the track as quick as possible.
I think that the best skill that I have is I'm able to adjust to tracks faster than everybody else.
Look at this, it's a great one by Cameron Noss.
Definitely the skating was my best asset.
I'm always positive and I have a lot of fun.
The technical courses were in my favor. That's what my training is based around.
And I think whoever takes care of doing clean runs with good technique and no stupid mistakes will make it to the final in the end.
It means a lot to me to have an opportunity to become the first back-to-back world champion.
Get a second world championship would be a dream come true.
Nobody did it so far, so that's the next, major thing to accomplish in our sport.
So, JR, will this be the year we have a repeat or 2-time champion in crashed ice?
I think it is, but it just goes to show you how hard and competitive this sport really is.
Quarterfinal number 1, and there he is, the reigning world champion, American Cameron Noss, the 27-year-old from Lakeville, Minnesota, and this is going to be a tough way to start as he gets into quarterfinal heat number 1 with Tristan Dugardil on the far left of your screen. And then to the left of Cameron Noss is Antti Tolvanen of Finland, and finally Pacom Schmidt of France. All the athletes anxiously waiting on backstage to see who's going to come out of this one. Keep your eye on the man right there on the left in the orange and black, Cameron Noss.
Yeah, watch how explosive he goes out of this gate as he drops into that first drop zone. Boom, 1 step and off to the races. You notice he doesn't take 1 stride. That's the technique you have, and that's why he's so good in these races, because he knows when to explode and knows when to let the ice just take him on down.
Cameron Noss is your leader. Pacom Schmidt sits in 3rd. Tristan Dugardil now is sitting in 2nd place. Antti Tolvanen having his issues. That allows the French now to go 2 and 3, but the American Cameron Noss out in front. It is still Tristan Dugardil in that 2nd transfer position. Cameron Noss starting to run away with this one. If he can be clean to the end, he's into the semifinals, and he does just that as Tristan Dugardil, the other Frenchman, slides in for 2nd. Pacom Schmidt and Antti Tolvanen have been eliminated here in quarterfinal number 1.
God, it's just amazing watching Cameron Noss as he dictates his speed, knows exactly the angles to come into every turn, and this explosion right here. You see how he jumps right into that first tabletop, gets a little out of control with that foot, but you notice I already talked about no strides right there, and he dives right back in. Coming back up into that first turn, the floater. Nice control, a little brakes right there to control his speed. Perfect timing.
And the way he stays so balanced, JR, is so impressive.
Yeah, you see how he lifts his knees? Right there, Tolvainen can't control his speed and doesn't get his feet back under him. Proves costly for him, but this is where I really love how Cameron Nas controls it. He knows he's in position. He doesn't get too crazy. It's not about time. It's about technique and making sure you're 1 or 2 over the line.
Cameron Nas smoothly across the line. Tristan Dugardil of France in second place. So both of those men are into the semifinals, and an opportunity to defend his title is still there for Cameron Nas. Quarterfinal heat number 2 is in the gate. Guillaume Bouvet-Morissette of Canada in the blue and white. Scotty Croxell, he'll be with the black helmet. Tommy Mertz of the USA in the white and orange, and Stephen Cox of Canada in the black with the yellow helmet.
Scott Croxall again, feeling good and looking good in this race. I'm sure he's going to get out to a good start again. That's his strength.
Scotty Croxell not as big as his brother Kyle, who was eliminated in the last round, but he has the speed to match Cameron Nas. And here he is, Croxell taking a hard inside line, doing a little body work there, but now he's got the perfect line. Scott Croxell in the black, out in front, body's going down, and the American now sliding into a good position. That's Tommy Mertz of the USA in the white and orange.
What a move right there, and the poise that Scott Croxall had right there. It's really important that you don't get too aggressive. Scotty coming over these last bumpers to come one. Tommy Mertz comes in second to move on.
So it is Scott Croxell of Canada, Tommy Mertz of the USA, Stephen Cox and Guillaume Bouvet-Morissette of Canada have been eliminated on home ice.
Scott Croxall continues to impress me. Even when he has a real close race, he's in tight with other racers like he was with Morissette. He holds in there strong, doesn't push too much. A nice little start over. Again, coming up off of that tabletop. All 4 skaters looking good, looking strong and in control. But this is where Scott Croxall really takes over. You see, he doesn't panic. He's in a tough situation, but one stride, a little bump, and doesn't get too much air, allows him to get to the inside and take over that lead again. Look at the angles, the concentration. There's his knees go up, shock absorb as his hands come up to control his speed. Morissette goes down.
Hard into the walls.
Yeah, that's what happens when you come over, you get too aggressive, you can get out of control. As we've seen both skaters right there lose it. Scott Croxall knows he's in a nice situation, as is Tommy Mertz. Don't do anything crazy. Mertz goes down, but finds his feet again.
So they are moving on to the semifinals as we check in down on the ice with Will Christian.
Thanks, guys. Cam, you are looking absolutely flawless out there. Everybody here is talking about you being unbeatable at the moment. Are there any other racers out right there right now who can take this win away from you?
Yeah, Scott Dunn are still out there skating. Scott just went on to the semis. Dunn's looking good, so yeah, I'm just focusing on that next round, semifinal.
At this point, are there any thoughts of back-to-back championships in your head going through your thoughts?
I've been thinking about it since I won it last year, so it's a reoccurring theme for me, and I'm just trying to focus one heat at a time out here and get it done.
Thanks, Cam. Guys.
We have more quarterfinal action when we return to Ottawa for Crashed Ice. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the land of hockey for Crashed Ice, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. I am Todd Harris alongside 20-year NHL veteran Jeremy Roenick, as we are set now for the quarterfinals, heat number 3. This will be a very interesting one with speed and finesse. Richard Van Wilhe of Sweden in the blue and yellow, Dylan Moriarty, all about speed in the black, Tyler Witty, the American, trying to get into semifinals for the first time in the green and gray, and of course Jeri Leto of Finland in the teal and black.
Tyler Witty has looked real good in this year's Crashed Ice events. He's all set and ready to go. He's got a tough competitor in Dylan Moriarty right next to him.
And a good start after the big drop, and what a start for the flying Finn, Jeri Leto.
Yeah, he came out of that gate in a flash, the Finnish flash. But again, Moriarty staying right with him, as is Tyler Witty.
Top 2 moving on to the semifinals. Moriarty makes a move into third and immediately goes down to his knees as Leto has his issues as well.
Wow, what a bad mistake by Moriarty. He's gonna be feeling the effects of that coming down the end.
Richard van Wilhe of Sweden in a position to transfer. Big crash for Leto, and Witty comes across in second place.
Wow, what
Richard
a finish.
van Wilhe of Sweden, JR, perfectly timed move. Dylan Moriarty has been eliminated, and a big story in Tyler Witty. The 25-year-old from New Prague, Minnesota, has moved into the semifinals for the first time in his crashed ice career.
What a devastating mistake by Yeri Lato right over the last roller. You see the start right here. Tyler Witty, great start. Leto on the outside, perfectly timed that tabletop right there, taking a couple strides to separate himself. Concentration coming up, nice knee bend right there. Make sure the head doesn't bob. Put the arms up for a little bit more control. But Moriarty making a devastating mistake right there. Falls down, coming over that drop down. And this is the mistake that Leto makes. He gets a little aggressive, doesn't time it, loses his pace, hits that hill on the roller, allows Tyler Witty to get in to advance.
So it is Richard van Wilhe moving on, Tyler Witty. Moriarty frustrated as he is eliminated from the competition.
Yeah, there's no question. This is the second time that he's been eliminated in the quarterfinals. St. Paul, he had a header. Looked like he had a concussion, but that's one Moriarty out of the championship.
Moving on now to heat number 4 of the quarterfinals, Jim De Paoli. He is in the white and red from Switzerland. Dean Moriarty, Dylan's brother, in the pink. Maxwell Dunn of the USA in the blue with the green shoulders. And Mirko Lahti of Finland in the black and purple. And a great start this time by Jim De Paoli in the red and white. He's going to get the whole shot, lead them into the big terrace turn. But carnage right there, and look at Dean Moriarty taking advantage.
Wow, again, that first corner, if you don't come in and find that clean ice surface, you catch a rut. That's exactly what happened. And oh, we have Maxwell Dunn just pushed one of the competitors out of the way. I don't know if that's very legal.
Maxwell Dunn sitting in third, not a transfer position. Right now it is Dean Moriarty, Jim De Paoli, 1 and 2, and Dunn goes down hard. And so does Moriarty, comes up short, but does he have the speed to get across in the momentum? And he just dives and fights his way to a second place finish. It wasn't beautiful, but he gets it done. Congratulations. What a finish. Jim De Paoli and Dean Moriarty, and Maxwell Dunn now has been eliminated, so no title hopes for him as Cameron Nas looks on.
What? There's carnage all over the place. Look at Dean Moriarty right there, just brushing off the effects of crashing into that roller at the end. But again, another good start at the top. Guys in control coming over that first tabletop. Jim De Paoli looking good, and right there, Maxwell Dunn loses an edge on some bad ice. That's why you gotta find that clean ice. And right there, Maxwell Dunn pushing Latte out of the way. But it's down at the bottom of the course. Just, well, right there again, another slip up right there by Latte, eliminates him, and then it becomes a race of 3. But then again, it doesn't matter. Moriarty out in front. If you don't time that, oh my gosh, look at that spin and out of control by Dunn. Then Moriarty, De Paoli comes over first, and Moriarty scrambles to make sure he gets over that, but Maxwell Dunn is way too far back. Look at that spin out. That's how easily you can get out of control coming over those rollers. I'm telling you, with that speed, if you're not in position, you're done.
So Maxwell Dunn, the best he can do is third place on the World Tour. Dean Moriarty is moving on. Dylan Moriarty talking there with Maxwell Dunn. So the semifinals are now set at the final event. Heat number 1, it'll be Cameron Nas, Tristan Dugardil, Scott Croxell, and Tommy Mertz. Heat number 2, Richard van Wilhe, Tyler Witty, Jim De Paoli, and Dean Moriarty. We'll have that when we return. You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. The men's semifinals are on lock, and we are set to go one step closer to crowning a world champion. 2 men that are still in the hunt, that of course being the reigning champion Cameron Nas of the USA and Scott Croxell of Canada, and they are in the first semifinal right next to each other, JR. Also, you factor in Tristan Dugardil on the far left of your screen and Tommy Mertz of the USA on the right.
There's no question the nerves are just running rampant through Cameron Nas and Scott Croxell being paired right next to each other.
And And a great start by Cameron Nas in the orange and black. Will Scotty Croxell be able to stay with him right now? It is Tristan Dugardil of France sitting in second place and Scotty Croxell in third. He has got to get to the finals or the world title goes to Cameron Nas.
Two of the best starters in this competition. Cameron Nas showing why he's so dominant. Perfect position. Oh, Tommy Mertz goes down on that step down.
And meanwhile, Cameron Nas running away with this one. The big story, though, can Scotty Croxell get into second place? He's got a little distance to get it done. It is Tristan Dugardil holding it a second and a slight stumble. And it is Scotty Croxell just advancing ahead of Tristan Dugardil, who is about to knock the Canadian out of competition. And it is Cameron Nas and Scott Croxell. They will do a battle in the final for the World Championship.
Wow, what a finish. There's a reason why Scott Croxell and Cameron Nas dominate this competition, because they know when to push the envelope and when not to. Dugardil gets a little aggressive at the bottom of the track, had everything in control, and then makes a big-time mistake. A great start again, 2 strides, but I want you to watch Cameron Nas as he comes over this first plateau. Watch the strides right here. Boom, gets going, propels himself into that corner, nice tuck position, and separates himself a little bit, which is dominating for Cameron Nas. You put him in that kind of position, he's tough to beat.
Cameron Nas leading from start to finish. Now here's Dugardil sitting in second. Scott Croxell's on the outside looking in.
And it's coming down to the bottom. This is where Dugardil makes a big mistake. He doesn't control how fast he's going, and he hits that hill. You see how he kind of dragged his foot behind, which lost the edge, and in turn, lost the race.
And it is Scott Croxell who gets the win. Cameron Nas gets second place. Both of them into the final, and they are the last 2 men vying for the world title here in 2017. Their epic battle will continue in that final. First, we have to find out who's going to join them. But first, let's check in with Will Christian down on the ice.
Thanks, guys. Max, you're in good spirits. After a great start up there, that race did not go how you needed it to tonight.
Just a simple mistake. I went too hard in my edge, slipped out on the turn, had a great start. I got into second there from a bad gate. Happens. It's life. It's racing, you know.
And unfortunately, after the result of that race, that means that you're no longer now in a championship hunt. How does that feel after a long, hard season?
You know, obviously it's a little bit of a bummer, but being in my second full season, being up here competing against guys who've been doing it for 5+ years, I mean, I got to be happy about that, you know. Man.
It's been great watching you race. Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
And congratulations to Maxwell Dunn. He does finish on the podium in 3rd place for the world title. A little more business to take care of until we get to that final. This is semifinal number 2. Jim DePioli in the white and red, Dean Moriarty of Canada in the pink, Richard Van Wilhe of Sweden in the blue and yellow, and Tyler Witty in the gray, green, and white. 2 spots on the line in the final.
Yeah, Dean Moriarty's got to be the favorite in this heat right here. His brother Dylan looking on from the bottom as the race starts, and a really good start by Moriarty. He gets a little bit too much height, takes him out of the lead.
Jim DePioli going out and getting the whole shot. He is out in front with clean eyes. Right behind him, though, Richard Van Wilhe in the blue and yellow, and right now it's Dean Moriarty in the pink on the outside looking in. Top 2 are moving on to the final. Dean Moriarty, the Canadian's got to get on his horse, and it's Tyler Witty dropped down, so he will not be going on to the final, but a lot of races still to go as they come down these final few corners. Jim DePioli, here comes Richard Van Wilhe, and Moriarty decides to split them. As they come to the line, oh, Van Wilhe goes down, and Moriarty squeaks through.
Wow, Moriarty gets lucky again at the bottom of the track. Wilhe, an awful mistake, and we'll watch up at the top of the hill. I think Moriarty gets a little payback on Wilhe.
Well, they're calling it a photo finish right now. We do know that Jim DePioli is in for sure. Here's the start one more time.
Yeah, great drop in right there by Moriarty. Witty also getting out there nice and strong. Geez, DePioli looking very, very technically sound right there. A little bump right there. Moriarty hits the wall, takes him out of the second place, but he doesn't panic. Comes in, look at that nice tuck, keeps his skates nice and close. DePioli right there, but Wilhe, the battle for second. We get a little bit of bumping in coming down the final stretch as Moriarty gets to the inside, and Wilhe loses his balance, hits that roller, can't regain his feet, and Moriarty just slips his foot by to advance to the final. Look at that finish, and that last stride by Moriarty is the difference.
It's about 3 inches in favor of Dean Moriarty of Canada ahead of Richard van Wilhe of Sweden.
Let's go, finals, baby, let's go! I'm here too, I'm here too!
So the final is set here in Ottawa. It looks like this. It'll be 2 Canadians, a reigning champion, and Jim DePaoli. Scott Croxell is in. Cameron Nas, the defending champ from the USA, is in. DePaoli of Switzerland and Dean Moriarty. Before we crown a men's champion, it's the women's turn. They are loading into the gate for their final here in Ottawa to crown their 2nd world champion. You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. I am your host, Sal Masekela, and this is Crashed Ice. Previous to 2016, the brave women interested in ice cross downhill had the opportunity maybe once, twice a year to actually attend and compete in a single event, generally held at a stop in Quebec City, Canada, or in St. Paul, Minnesota. So, without a full series and adequate track time, clearly it was challenging for the women's division to progress. But that did not hamper their passion or their dedication. Finally, given a full tour in 2016, the women competitors of Crashed Ice are working hard to achieve the recognition of the men's division, hoping that they can grow the sport that they too have grown to love. These pioneers really paving the way and proving that they deserve just as much track time and attention as the boys.
A lot of people are intimidated with ice cross. You know, there's that big wow factor, and we all are sponsored and we have fancy uniforms that I think a lot of people think that they can't do it.
Look at the event, like the lights, the crowds, the hype around Red Bull Crashed Ice is just so great. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be part of that?
I just don't know if a lot of women know how to get into the sport.
If people can skate and they like adrenaline, pretty much anyone can get into this sport.
You definitely need to be able to shut out a bit of your mind because things look crazier than they feel sometimes.
Once you do it, then it's like, wow, I did it. I can do this now, and you kind of gain that confidence.
You'd have to be tough. You have to be able to take a hit, get the wind knocked out of you, and still get up.
I mean, it's funny, if you look at the girls competing in the sport, there's all shapes and sizes. I think anyone who just wants to come out and have fun is a decent skater and is willing to push their body and mind to the limits that they can succeed in the sport. Every race it gets better in terms of who's competing and who's knocking who out or moving around in the rankings.
From 1st place to 16th place is a matter of 4 seconds on a track. But now that the girls are on the international circuit, to have the women's side of the sport progress, there has to be more athletes.
I would love to see the sport grow just as big as the guys' divisions, you know, that would be great. And I think more and more people are participating every year, and I think that's the directions we're taking.
It is time to crown a champion in Ottawa. Tense moments as the fans have turned out en masse despite the very chilly temperatures, even by Canadian standards. Here's the situation. Amanda Tronzo did not have a fast enough qualifying time to get her in the quarterfinals, so she has to sit and watch and hope that Jacqueline Legere does not finish in 1st place. If Legere finishes in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, that means Amanda Tronzo is the world champion without even skating here in the final. 4 women battling in this race. It'll be Elaine Toplinski of Canada, the 33-year-old from Kamloops. And next to her, it'll be Jacqueline Legere of Canada. She's in the pink and white. She is the 2016 world champion, looking to make it back-to-back. Maxi Plant of Canada and Yuko Yamamoto of Japan in the black.
Really important start for Legere right here. Long track, tough track. If she separates herself a little bit, she can almost assure herself a world championship.
Jacqueline Legere in the pink and white gets the whole shot. Right behind her is Maxi Plant, the 23-year-old from the Northwest Territories.
Coming down into this drop-in right here, really crucial that they keep their feet close to the ice. Nice little buffer right there. Don't get too high.
Carnage in the back. It is still Jacqueline Legere as she comes down this final section. Right behind her, it's Maxi Plant. Legere gets the win. She gets the world title.
The hardest part of the track coming right here, coming down over the moguls.
And it will be Jacqueline Legere, the world champion yet again. JR, she did exactly what she had to do. She went out and took the race.
Well, the pressure was on for sure, and it started at the top of the hill. The start was essential for Jacqueline to get out, separate herself. Maxi Plant put a little pressure on her, but she stayed poised. Again, off the start, you see Jacqueline get out, get down off that first hill perfectly, as did Maxi Plant. Early separation into this first turn. The inside rail is very important to allow that position to be held. Again, no air right here. Look at how she just raises her knees, keeps her head right on plane. Maxi Plant holding on as the fans cheer on the future world champion.
Jacqueline Legere is back-to-back. Had some scary moments down here just trying to maintain contact with the ice, and at this point, JR, she's feeling it right here. One more skate across, and she is back-to-back world champion yet again. What an impressive performance. The world champ, two-time world champ, is standing by with Will Christian.
Thanks so much, Jacqueline. Huge congratulations to you. You came into tonight knowing that you needed to be flawless and take the win if you were going to retain your world championship. How did you handle that pressure?
You know, it's a lot of pressure, but I try to stay calm and just have clean runs, and it worked out.
And you were very smooth out there. A lot of the other girls seemed to make mistakes. Everybody was saying how flawless your runs were. What would you say was the key to your skating?
Just taking the transition smooth, and this is my type of track, so it worked out good.
Now, not only are you world champion, but you have done this now twice, back-to-back, two-time world champion. How does that feel, and where do you go from here?
It feels amazing. You know, I had to fight for that one. I had to come first, and so I think it feels even better than last year. You know, you're just going to keep training and come back next year.
Jacqueline, go and enjoy it. Thank you so much. Guys.
Thank you, Will. We've got one more race to go here in Ottawa. Before we do that, let's check in with Sal.
Thank you, Todd. After a great night of racing, it comes down to this. With Max Dunn out, Cameron Naas, Scott Croxell, they're going to battle for the overall world championship in this final race. This is what we live for. Cam, controlling his own destiny, a first or a second place will gain him enough points to take the first ever back-to-back world championship. But who really controls anything on a crashed ice track? We will crown a 2017 world champion when we return. You are watching Crashed Ice from Ottawa, Canada, and this is the Red Bull Signature Series.
Back in beautiful and chilly Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. This is the final 2017 Crashed Ice World Tour. Dean Moriarty. He will be on the left side of your screen. Next to him, the reigning world champion, Cameron Naas of the USA. He needs to finish first or second. If he does that, the world championship is his. Immediately to his left is Canada's Scott Croxell. Now, Croxell's situation's a little more complicated, JR. He needs to win the race and needs some help. He needs Cameron Naas to finish in third place. With him getting the victory, the world title will be his.
Good luck. We haven't seen Cameron Naas finish third in a long time.
And then rounding out the four-pack is Jim De Paoli of Switzerland, the 28-year-old veteran from Geneva. So here we go, one race for the world title. Cameron Naas needs a first and a second. The world championship is his. Scotty Croxell needs to win, and he needs Cameron Naas to finish in third.
Don't you just love it when the favorites coming into the competition end up in the final? It just makes for so much more of an exciting pace to start this final heat. Cameron Naas, Scotty Croxell ready to go.
And the final is on. Who will get the whole shot? A great start once again. Cameron Nas will take them into the first turner. It's the big terrace drop, and already rider down. Unfortunately, it's Scotty Croxell. Cameron Nas just has to stay clean right now. Dean Moriarty in the pink follows him. Then it's Jim De Paoli, but the world champion looking for something big as he drops to his knees.
Wow, what a move by Cameron Nas to be able to get up on top of that drop hill, stay on his feet to continue that lead as they come down the final stretch.
And here we go, Cameron Nas with one more obstacle as he comes across the line. He is the world champion in 2017.
This is what you gotta love about these competitors in the event. It's so competitive in there, but you see all the friends, the different nations showing the respect for each other.
Cameron Nas did exactly what he had to do. Got out in front, took care of business, and Scotty Croxell, we'll look at it one more time. He goes down hard in one of the opening corners, and that just opened the door.
Yeah, it's a great start again for Cameron Nas as he comes up over that first tabletop. Doesn't get too much height. Scotty Croxell a little bit out of control right there, which loses some ground for him. Coming around this turn, this is where Scott Croxell hits that corner. That's why the angles are so important. You try to take it a little bit too tight, the shoulder hits, and next thing you know, you're out of contention. Look at this tight turn right there. Wow, Scotty Croxell takes a header really hard. Goes into the boards. Camcorder comes off. Next thing you know, it becomes a race for Cameron Nas again.
And Cameron Nas just has to stay on his feet at this point and cruise to victory, but he has his issues as well.
Very uncharacteristic right there of him going down, but again, he is so talented and coordinated. He gets right back up, regains his footing. Dean Moriarty seeing an opportunity, takes a couple paces to get at him. De Paoli, but it was right down at the bottom of this race course again, where Cameron Nas almost loses it, but holds on. You see Scott Croxell picking up the rear of the pack, and again, watch Cameron Nas right here. Usually very, very sure-footed, slows up, but enough to get in there, and Dean Moriarty coming in second.
And Will is with the two-time champion.
Thanks, Todd, and I'm here with our world champion now. Cam, you stood at the top there of the track, behind those gates, knowing that not only tonight's race rested on that, but the championship and being the first person to ever win 2 world titles. How did you handle that pressure, and did it enter your mind at any point, especially when you took the fall?
I always feel the pressure, but 6 out of 6 podiums this year, 2 wins. Now I have 8 wins overall. That helps alleviate the pressure, and yeah, I'm just confident in myself, and I listened to my best buddy, Tommy Mertz. I asked him what I should do on this last feature in the final, and he just said, just be yourself and do what you feel, so I'm happy.
Now, were you aware of what had happened to Scott, knowing that he was obviously one of your biggest challenges out there? Did you realize that he'd taken a fall?
Yeah, actually, I got the whole shot. I heard a loud noise on the boards to my right, and I didn't know who it was at first, but once I got around that right, I think it was while I was in the air on the sender, I heard Croxell's down. So, yeah, I felt a little relaxed, and I think maybe that's why I fell. I lost concentration for a minute, but it prevailed.
Congratulations, Cameron Nas, first time, 2-time world champion winner. Guys.
Thank you, Will. Get warm. Great job. Our Red Bull signature moment goes to Cameron Nas, who has accomplished what no other competitor ever has. Back-to-back world championships and 8 total wins. Cameron's last 5 years has solidified him as a legend in the sport, from Rookie of the Year in 2012 to a top 3 finisher in the World Championship standing every year since, and top qualifier in every round this season. It seems Cameron Nas was born to skate ice cross downhill. It almost seemed too easy for him tonight as he skated to victory. Congratulations to Cameron Nas, the winningest athlete in Red Bull crashed ice history, the 2017 Ice Cross Downhill World Champion, and today's Red Bull signature moment. Cameron Nas of the USA takes the crown. So the final standings look like this. Cameron Nas gets the victory, followed by Scott Croxell, Max Dunn, and Dean Moriarty rounding out the top 4 on the World Tour this year. We want to congratulate all the athletes who took part. For Jeremy Roenick, I'm Todd Harris. We now send it back to Sal.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you at home for joining us at one of the greatest nights in racing from Crashed Ice ever in Canada's capital, Ottawa, Ontario. Congrats to tonight's race winner, the first ever men's back-to-back world champion, Team USA's Cameron Noss, and to the Canadian Dean Moriarty and Jim DePaoli of Switzerland for rounding out the men's podium. Plus, congratulations to the home soil heroine, Jacqueline Legere, also making history for her back-to-back world championship wins with her dominating performance here tonight. Thank you for partying with us, and on behalf of the entire NBC Sports crew, Todd Harris, Jeremy Roenick, the legend, Will Christian, and myself, we will see you next time.